Hey everyone, welcome back to Football Talk with Vinny. In today's video, we're going to be going over the Kansas City Chiefs. So we finally made it down to the Super Bowl contenders, so obviously just 2 more videos left. So let's quickly get right into it with the free agents that they lost. So they decided essentially to just remake the entire offensive line by letting both of their starting tackles go in Eric Fisher and Mitchell Schwartz. Also let their center go in Austin Ryder, and the left guard that played significant snaps for them in Ketchali Osemele. I might have pronounced the first name wrong. I know I've heard the last name plenty of times, but I might have pronounced the first one wrong. And then lastly, they lost Sammy Watkins. I don't think it's too big of a loss. Their weapons are so many on the field that losing a guy as Sammy Watkins, who is realistically the 4th or 5th option on that offense, isn't too big of a deal. But again, it is still a loss. In terms of re-signing, they were able to re-sign their safety, Daniel Sorensen. They did re-sign a backup right tackle in Mike Reimers. And they signed the left guard who actually played most of the snaps in Andrew Wiley. And then again, lastly, they did re-sign one of their corners in Charvarius Ward. Now, obviously, heading into the offseason, the main and only goal was to rebuild that entire offensive line because you have to protect Patrick Mahomes. If you saw the Super Bowl, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And I think they did an excellent job, starting with their very first signing in Joe Thuney. They were able to sign him to a very big deal to get him away from the New England Patriots. They also signed the Rams starting center who they let go in Austin Blythe. They traded for Orlando Brown for that first round pick from the Baltimore Ravens. And then they did address one area on the defensive line, specifically the defensive tackle and Jaron Reed from Seattle. So in just the offseason in terms of free agency, they were able to replace the left tackle, the left guard, and the center. So that's obviously a fantastic offseason if you just account free agency. And the fact that you gave up a first-round pick for Orlando Brown, I think there's really no tackle that you could have taken at 31 that was going to play as good as Orlando Brown is probably going to be for them this season. So quickly, let me just get right into the draft. Obviously, with not having a first-round pick, their first pick didn't come until 58, and they took a linebacker, Nick Bolton. Then at pick 63, they drafted a center, maybe might play guard at Creed Humphrey, because again, they signed the center for the Rams, so if he's going to play center, you might just kick this guy into a guard. Quickly, I'll go over the rest of the draft as they're all outside the top 100. Pick 144, you took a defensive end, Joshua Kendo. At pick 162, you took a tight end in Noah Gray. At pick 181, you took a wide receiver in Cornell Powell. And then lastly, at pick 226, you took an offensive guard in Trey Smith. So obviously, in terms of the draft, if you just focus on really those first 2 picks, you took a linebacker to try to shore up that front 7. With that second pick, you took a guy that he might just get snaps depending on where there's an injury on the offensive line. Now, in terms of the money, they have $7.9 million left for this year, and they're going to have $19 for next year. So obviously, when you're paying Patrick Mahomes that much money and you have a lot of good young players on your roster, like Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce and Chris Jones and Tyrann Mathieu, a lot of those guys take up most of the chunk of your salary cap. But again, they obviously don't really need to add many pieces to their roster. They're already obviously won a championship and last year got to the Super Bowl. So, just with the team that they have in place, they're already a Super Bowl favorite. In terms of the regular season, I don't really see them taking a step backwards. I actually see them maybe winning a little bit more games. Probably anywhere between 13 to 15 wins, I think, for this season. I think this year, with the way that the season ended for them last year, the fact that their offensive line wasn't that great, and I think this year it could be one of their strengths. I think obviously if you could protect Patrick Mahomes, he might be able to throw 50 or 60 touchdowns for the season. I think it's going to be a lot of trouble for a lot of teams in the AFC this year. And I don't think their players are at that age where they're going to start to decline, right? Even with Travis Kelce, I think he's 30 or 31. I just don't see a lot of their players in those age ranges where you're going to start to see a decline, even though they're getting paid at the top 5 of their position. I think these guys can still play at a high level this year and maybe for another year or 2. But that's going to be it for this video. If you guys did like it, make sure to hit the like button and also subscribe. But again, I look forward to the next one as well. Thank you so much. Bye.